Before the world tells you who you are, tell yourself who you're going to be. Mornings aren't just routines. They're a mindset reset. Speak power into your life before doubt has a chance. You've survived every bad day. Remind yourself why. What you whisper in the mirror becomes how you walk through the day. Stop starting your day with fear, guilt, or shame. Start it with clarity, courage, and control. I am in control of how today feels. Say it again. Not softly, not passively. Say it like you mean it. Because how you start your morning isn't about to-do lists or the chaos of your calendar. It's about what you allow into your emotional space before anything or anyone else gets the chance. When your feet hit the ground, you're not just waking up. You're stepping into authority. The kind that doesn't ask for permission. The kind that understands emotions will rise, pressures will come, people will test you. But you choose how you respond. That's your power. Most of us roll out of bed already behind on sleep, behind on peace, behind on the messages we should have told ourselves a long time ago. Instead, we let the day grab us by the collar and drag us. We wake up reacting, not deciding. But that's over now, because today you remind yourself you are in control of how today feels. Not your inbox, not the news, not the energy someone else brings into the room. You set the tone. You build the emotional temperature of your day before the world even speaks. Let's get something clear. Control doesn't mean everything goes your way. It means that even when it doesn't, you don't lose your way. There will be noise, distractions, little moments that try to pull you out of your peace. But emotional control means you pause before you react. It means you breathe before you break. It means when someone else brings drama, you don't accept the invitation. Why? Because you already decided this morning you're not letting anyone write the story of your day but you. Control also doesn't mean perfection. You're not a robot, you're human. You'll feel annoyed, frustrated, maybe even discouraged. That's not failure, that's real life. But control is knowing what to do with those feelings. You don't shove them down. You don't let them lead. You acknowledge them and then decide, do these emotions deserve my time, my energy, my voice today? Most times they don't. Most times they're just echoes from the past or noise from someone else's bad mood. You get to shut that door gently. Not everything deserves a response. Not every wave deserves to knock you off your balance. Think about the last time your whole day got thrown off by a 5-second interaction. Maybe a rude comment, a cold text, a sideways look. You felt it in your chest. It made you question yourself. And just like that, the mood of your day shifted. Why? Because you forgot you were in charge. You let their energy become your atmosphere. But when you start your day with the truth, I am in control of how today feels, you stop handing out access passes to your peace. You stop outsourcing your joy. You stop being emotionally hijacked by things that don't even deserve a mention in your life's story. This mindset isn't toxic positivity. It's not about ignoring hard things. It's about emotional leadership. You can be going through something tough and still carry yourself with peace. You can be in the middle of stress and still decide to walk with composure. The storm might be real, but so is your anchor. And when you build that anchor every morning with your own words, your own voice, your own internal check-in, you stop being at the mercy of the external world. Let's take this deeper. You wake up late. The kids are yelling. The coffee spills. Your phone is already lighting up with problems. What do? You remind yourself again, even in the mess, I am in control of how today feels. That doesn't mean pretending like everything's fine. That means grounding yourself in the present moment and choosing your next move with clarity. That means not snapping at people because you're frustrated. That means breathing before yelling. That means choosing not to live in reaction mode. That's control. And it's more than a mindset, it's a habit. One you build every morning, one that strengthens your relationships, your focus, your patience, your presence. And when someone tries to bring negativity into your space, you're not cold. You're not fake. You're just rooted. You listen, but you don't absorb. You acknowledge, but you don't own. You respond, but you don't overreact. Why? Because the decision was already made before the day began. You're not showing up to see how the day feels. You're showing up to tell the day how it's going to feel, with calm, with steadiness, with maturity. And when people see that, they start to feel it too. Emotional control is contagious. It creates a space where people feel safe, steady, and clear, even in chaos. So tomorrow morning and every morning after, don't wait for the world to greet you with kindness before you feel okay. Don't wait for things to go right before you let yourself breathe. Decide early, decide often. Before your feet even hit the ground, remind yourself, I am in control of how today feels. Then act like it, walk like it, speak like it. And when the day tries to pull you off center, come back to it again. That's where your power lives. That's where your peace begins. I'm enough as I am right now. That's not a feel-good phrase. That's a truth most people never get around to telling themselves. Because somewhere along the way, the world convinced you that you're only allowed to feel worthy after something. After the degree. After the raise. After the body changes. After the relationship. After you've fixed all the flaws. But what if you don't need to be more, do more, or prove more to earn your place in this moment? What if this version of you, flawed, learning, growing, is already enough? Most of us wake up already apologizing for who we are, apologizing for not being more productive, for not being as far ahead as someone else, for not having it all figured out by now. You look in the mirror and see every inch that doesn't match what culture celebrates. You scroll online and stack your life against someone's highlight reel. And little by little, you start negotiating your worth, putting it on hold, pushing it down the line, waiting for the day when you finally become worthy of peace, love, rest, or even self-respect. But here's the truth: you were born worthy. That didn't get taken from you. It just got buried under the noise. This isn't about settling or giving up on growth. You can want more for your life and still know that you're enough today. Wanting better doesn't mean you're broken. You can pursue healing without hating the parts of you that still hurt. You can chase goals without attaching your self-worth to the outcome. Because the moment you make your worth conditional, based on achievements, appearance, or approval, you hand your peace to things that can disappear overnight. Think about how much time you've spent performing just to feel enough. Smiling when you're exhausted, saying yes when you wanted to say no, pushing yourself to burnout just to feel like you're doing enough. And still, the feeling doesn't last because you're chasing something that was never outside of you to begin with. You can't earn what's already yours. You just have to accept it. And that's the hard part, because self-acceptance takes courage. It means sitting with your imperfections without needing to edit them. It means looking in the mirror and not flinching. It means understanding that the messy, complicated version of you still deserves kindness. That voice in your head, the one that says you're not good enough yet, not smart enough, not attractive enough, not disciplined enough, it's not speaking truth. It's repeating a script you didn't write. Maybe it came from childhood. Maybe it came from criticism, from comparison, from culture. But you don't have to keep rehearsing it. You can choose a new narrative. You can speak to yourself like someone you actually care about, like someone you're learning to believe in again. You are not your worst moment. You are not your loudest insecurity. You are not the mistake you made 2 years ago, or last week, or yesterday. You are not behind just because someone else got there faster. You are not less because someone else looks more confident on the outside. You are not unworthy because you're still working through pain. You are enough, not when you're fixed, not when you're finally who you think you're supposed to be. You're enough right now. Breathing, existing, becoming. And here's what happens when you start believing that. You stop shrinking yourself to make other people comfortable. You stop over-explaining your worth. You stop waiting for people to validate you. You stop hiding the parts of you that don't look polished or perfect. You begin to show up honestly, not performatively. You set better boundaries. You choose better relationships. You speak up more. You rest more. You don't carry guilt every time you take care of yourself. And most of all, you begin to live from a place of grounded confidence. Not arrogance, but quiet, steady knowing, the kind that doesn't shout, but doesn't shake either. You being enough doesn't mean you stop growing. It means you grow from a healthy root system, not from shame, not from insecurity, not from desperation, but from a place of grounded identity. You know what you bring to the table. You know the value of your presence. And because of that, you're not scared of silence or rejection or slowing down. You've built your foundation on truth, not approval. So when the world tries to sell you 1,000 ways to finally feel enough, you smile and walk away. You already know the truth. You know that your worth doesn't need a filter. Your value doesn't depend on being busy. Your dignity doesn't require a title, a number, or a partner. You're not a project to fix. You're a person to be respected by others, and most importantly, by yourself. You don't have to wait to love yourself. You don't have to wait to speak gently to yourself. You don't have to wait to forgive yourself. You don't have to wait to stand tall in your own space. You don't have to wait to own your worth. Say it again, and this time, don't whisper. Speak it like truth, because it is, I am enough as I am right now. Then go live like you believe it. Today, I choose progress over perfection, because perfection is a moving target. It shifts, it lies. It promises peace, then withholds it the second you fall short. But progress, that's real. That's steady. That's honest work done in honest moments. Choosing progress means choosing movement, even when the steps are small. It means choosing growth over image, substance over surface. It means understanding that the goal isn't to be flawless, it's to be better than yesterday. Perfection demands performance. It tells you to fix your tone, your timing, your posture, your personality, until you're exhausted and disconnected from who you really are. It wants you polished, not present. It wants you looking perfect, even if you're breaking underneath. And maybe you've been living in that trap for years, trying to be everything for everyone, never feeling like enough for yourself. But that ends today, because perfection isn't the standard anymore. Progress is, and progress has room for mistakes. Progress invites learning. Progress allows you to breathe while you're building. Perfection tells you that if you can't do it right, don't do it at all. So you wait. You wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect confidence level. And in that waiting, you stay stuck. You let your potential sit idle while fear gets to speak first. But choosing progress over perfection means showing up even when you're nervous, even when it's messy, even when you're unsure. Because movement creates clarity, motion builds momentum. And once you start, the path unfolds in ways perfection never allowed you to see. Some days, progress looks like winning. Some days, it looks like surviving. Some days, it's bold and loud. Other days, it's quiet and internal, saying no when you used to say yes, setting a boundary, forgiving yourself faster. Perfection won't celebrate those wins, but progress does. Progress counts all of it. It honors the effort, not just the outcome. It sees the inner work that nobody claps for. It respects the tears, the trial, and the trust it takes to keep going even when no one else notices. Perfection is loud, demanding, and draining. Progress is quiet, consistent, and kind. Perfection wants you to sprint. Progress reminds you it's okay to walk. Perfection says you should have done more by now. Progress says, look how far you've come. And in a world constantly pushing hustle image and instant results, choosing progress is revolutionary. It means you're playing the long game. It means you're committed to becoming, not just performing. It means you're willing to grow in public without shame and in private without praise. Think about the last time you let perfection steal your peace. Maybe you didn't start something because you weren't ready. Maybe you beat yourself up over one wrong move and forgot the 10 things you did right. Maybe you held back your voice, your ideas, your presence because it didn't feel polished enough. That's perfection, robbing you of life. But today, you get to change that. You get to take one step, even if it's shaky. You get to make a move, even if it's not massive. You get to show up fully, not flawlessly. Progress doesn't mean lowering your standards. It means shifting your mindset. You can still aim high. You can still pursue excellence. But you no longer tie your worth to the outcome. You no longer crumble under pressure to appear perfect. You show up with humility and courage, knowing that every master was once a beginner. Every confident voice once trembled. Every strong leader once stumbled. Growth comes from motion, and motion begins when you give yourself permission to be imperfect. So, if you're waiting for the perfect time, you'll miss your moment. If you're waiting to feel confident, you'll miss the chance to build confidence through action. If you're waiting for no fear, you'll never move. Progress says, start scared. Start small, start anyway, because fear shrinks when faced. Doubt fades when acted on. Confidence isn't a prerequisite, it's a byproduct, and perfection can't offer that. Only progress can. The truth is, you don't need more pressure, you need more patience. You don't need to be harder on yourself. You need to be more honest. You're not lazy, you're scared. You're not failing, you're learning. You're not behind, you're just on your own timeline. And when you stop measuring yourself against an imaginary finish line, you begin to appreciate the process. You begin to celebrate the steps no one sees. You begin to believe that maybe just maybe, you're doing better than you think. So today, and every day after, choose the path that doesn't demand perfection. Choose the path that welcomes effort, grace, and gradual growth. You'll stumble, you'll mess up, but you'll keep moving. And that movement, that steady, daily, intentional effort is how real transformation happens. Perfection can't give you that, but progress can. And it starts with a simple decision to show up as you are, do what you can, and keep going. Today, you choose progress. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's power. That's enough. I can handle whatever comes my way. Not because everything will be easy. Not because I have all the answers, but because I've already been through more than I thought I could take. And I'm still standing. It's easy to forget that. Easy to overlook your own strength. But this statement isn't about arrogance. It's about remembering the truth of who you are. You've been through setbacks, silence, heartbreak, stress, uncertainty, and you're still here. So no matter what shows up today, you already carry the proof that you can face it. Life doesn't ask for permission before it delivers pressure. It doesn't always give warning signs. Some days hit you fast. A phone call, a problem, a shift you didn't expect. And in that moment, it's easy to think, I can't do this. But you can. Because fear talks loudest just before strength shows up. You don't need to know the whole plan. You don't need every step mapped out. What you need is one moment of belief, just enough to take the next step, just enough to breathe through the discomfort instead of running from it, just enough to remind yourself that fear doesn't get to decide how your story ends. You've faced days before where your back was against the wall, when everything felt uncertain. When the weight on your shoulders didn't feel fair, you didn't break. Maybe you bent. Maybe you cried. Maybe you got quiet for a while, but you didn't quit. There's a version of you back there who was convinced you wouldn't make it through what you were facing, but you did. And that version of you would be proud of who you are today. That's not weakness. That's resilience. That's strength disguised in daily endurance. This isn't about pretending things don't hurt. It's not about ignoring stress or pressure. It's about refusing to be ruled by them. When the storm shows up, it's okay to acknowledge that it's hard. But in the middle of it, you can still tell yourself the truth. I can handle this. I may not like it. I may not have chosen it, but I can carry it. Because I know how to breathe when I'm overwhelmed. I know how to pause when I want to panic. I know how to choose my response instead of letting the pressure choose it for me. Sometimes strength looks like stillness, like not reacting immediately, like taking a deep breath and asking yourself, what matters most right now? That space between stimulus and response, that's where your power lies. And when you own that space, you prove to yourself that no emotion, no situation, no person has control over your peace. You do. And that control starts with the decision to believe, no matter what comes at me today, I am equipped to handle it. Handling what comes your way doesn't mean doing it alone. It means knowing when to ask for help, knowing when to speak up, knowing when to rest, knowing when to stop trying to be the strongest in the room and start being the most honest instead. Real strength isn't about image. It's about truth. It's about saying, I'm struggling, but I'm not giving up. That's the kind of strength that lasts, the kind that builds character, not just coping. There will be moments where your emotions spike, where your patience wears thin, where your confidence dips. And in those moments, this isn't just a motivational phrase, it's a grounding truth. Say it to yourself with conviction, I can handle whatever comes my way, and then act like it. Even if your voice shakes, even if your legs feel unsteady, even if your mind is racing, you stand your ground. You take the next right step. You calm yourself instead of waiting for the world to calm down. And what happens over time is you start to believe it even before the pressure shows up. You start walking into your day with a steady presence, not reactive, not on edge, but rooted. Because you've trained yourself to respond, not just react. You've trained yourself to feel the emotion, acknowledge it, and still lead yourself through it. That's not something most people do, but you're doing it. You weren't built to avoid pressure. You were built to rise inside of it. You weren't designed to fold. You were designed to flex, to pivot, to endure. And every time you face the hard thing and keep going, your internal voice gets stronger. That voice starts reminding you before the doubt does, we've got this, we've been here, and we're not backing down. So today might not go perfectly. It might throw a few things your way, but it's not bigger than you. It's not stronger than the proof you already carry. And every time you hear the whisper of doubt, answer back with truth. I can handle this. I've handled worse. I'm not fragile. I'm focused. And I'm ready for whatever comes next.